Well, good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. How are you folks today? Hopefully you're doing well and enjoying the well, actually, what turns out to be a little bit of a rainy weather today where I'm at. Hopefully, weather is fine where you are, and whatever it is, hopefully you're enjoying yourself. We have a wonderful guest today joining us. He's a jazz musician. He's a music teacher. He's a recording artist, and he's a entrepreneur in a number of different things. We have Mr. Jeari Czapla joining us today. And before we have him join us for an hour and a bit here, I want to go ahead and maybe share a quick video of, I think it's an upcoming release that is to be out soon here. And let me just give you a taste of what that music sounds like here and who we're talking to in terms of the wonderful music that he shares with our viewers. So without any further delays, here's the song that's coming out.
Did I get it? There you have it, sports fan.
Welcome. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So tell us about that particular piece of music there we just shared. Is it fresh off the press or how new is it?
Well, the copyright date is April 19, 2019.
Right.
So it's been going since then.
Mm-hmm.
And on June 20th, 2020, on National Aboriginal Day, I released it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now on two stations in Spain.
Right. Cool.
The plan
So,
was to hit as many Latino or Latin countries as possible with it, because it's in Spanish and English.
mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. So it's two different versions of the song, like two different songs. And is it the same video, or is it one song that has two different languages in it?
One song that has two different languages in it,
All
Spanish
right.
and English.
Wonderful. So it's all embedded into one. Cool. Because sometimes you have people that have songs that get translated into different versions and whatnot. Cool. So tell us about your background a little bit more for our viewers to kind of understand. You have a very rich sort of jazz background that goes back several decades, and I know you did a lot of jazz festivals in the days, right? Tell us a bit about your background, my friend.
Well, it is extensive. I come from a interesting background. The song "Sunshine" has jazz qualities to it, so the chord changes are flipping through with in a jazz progression.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people aren't aware that the timbali player on that song, Tilo Payaz, the great Tilo Payaz, his birthday is coming up. Oh golly, a couple days, and he's going to be 70. He's the one with the hat and the blue shirt and the most handsome guy there, probably, except for Wayne, the tenor player. Wayne's pretty handsome too.
Yeah.
But Tilo has been known to play with Carlos Santana.
Cool. So, in terms of your jazz, I know you've taken some classical training, of course, in jazz. Tell us about that. When did you get into sort of formal classical training with jazz and all that?
Well, it would be in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday night was my theory with Ruth Douglas, and this went on for 5 years, all out of my own pocket. And then Tuesday was composition with Bruce Carlson, a University of Manitoba professor. So I studied classical, all the different forms of wound up writing classical music. So I've been writing piano pieces. I don't play piano all that well. I can chord, but as far as the intricate things, I spent some time writing a symphony, which I sent a copy of to you, called the A Bug Symphony.
Yeah.
Then Wednesday was jazz guitar with Chet Breau, Lenny Breau's son, where I became Chet Breau's protege. And then took a long time, most of my career, to play Lenny Breau things. I'm the only guy so far in the world that has covered one of Lenny Breau's songs, two of them now, New York City and 5 O'Clock Bells.
Cool.
And then Thursdays was classical guitar with Paul Hammer in Winnipeg, who lived across the street from the keyboard player in Streetheart. Daryl. In 1988, I wrote a classical guitar piece called Morning Serenade, and I presented it to Paul Hammer, and he's a university guitar teacher. I think he's retired now, but back in '88, he took that to university and taught his university guitar students Morning Serenade, which you can find on my first album, For Ella.
Yeah, cool, For Ella. Now, tell me when you want to play some of your audio tracks that you have available for our viewers today. But in terms of so these days you do a lot of, I know there's, is it a music studio that you have, and you have a lot of students? Tell us about that side of your work, teaching, and what kind of music do you tend to teach in terms of, is it jazz as well, or tell us a bit more about your teaching days these days.
Well, I wrote a book called Opus One, which is going through another revision as we speak. Well, not right now because I'm with you. But I've built a brand new website by myself, reading HTML and all the Java and everything that goes along with it. So the book I use is my own curriculum, which I've used is now in Longa-McQuaid stores in 56 stores across our nation here.
Cool. So is it under the jazz area of Long-McQuaid kind of section, I would imagine?
Nope, it's in educational.
Okay, cool.
So the book is 100 pages long.
Mhm.
I've sold many copies. We're into thousands of copies. I publish it myself. I print it myself. Quality control is really important when you're sending it out to customers around the country. I have 10 schools of music from Winnipeg to Edmonton that currently use that book as their main guitar curriculum.
Right, right. Cool.
To teach out of. So it covers everything from the basics right up to scales. It's got chord charts in it. Every 20 pages has got a new chord chart right up to jazz charts. So it's an 8-week program, 8-week jazz guitar curriculum course. And that's based off of Lenny Breau and his son Chet. So when Chet would come back from GIT, where he was studying with Paul Gilbert, and of course, Barry G. Player in Winnipeg is a great player. But when he came back, he had all these handwritten sheets that his dad had given to him, Lenny. So Chet was photocopying those and giving those to me. And I was rewriting them by hand in a ruler. And eventually, my wife said to me, well, why don't you put that in a book form? So I did. We're into our 2nd edition now. So as I mentioned this morning, we'll be into our 3rd edition.
Cool, cool. So when you think about your time with music these days, sounds like you have divided between some writing and so writing, some marketing, some teaching, and some performing. Any recording on the horizon? Are you working on a recording project right now as we speak?
We are. We just played the first single, Sunshine, right off the top.
No,
That's
what I mean is beyond that. Beyond that, are you
not
doing
only but also?
Yeah, yeah. Are you any other recording project right now, my friend?
I'm not sure what your question means. I mean, recording the record, not only but also. Okay. I'm doing some work with my students that they come in, and one guy's working on his own record, so I hire freelance musicians to come in and play on his record. So the studio is working well. I've hired 4 singers to come in, 2 bass players to come in, a drummer to come in. So there's studio work available. I've been asking around for guys, but I don't know if they really believe that there's actual studio work available.
I see.
So if you know anybody who wants to get some studio work, it's paid gig, by the way, too. Also, with some of the payment, there's also some SoCan royalties that kick in there. So the business has become quite important.
Yeah. Cool. So you've been doing this music thing, I'm guessing, full time for a few decades now. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Music is all I do.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, having been full time doing this music for a few decades? What are your thoughts on the kind of changes, good or bad? Do you want to comment on what you've observed over the decades, from your perspective with music?
Regarding what?
Just any observation, having been in the music industry for full time for a few decades. I wonder if you have any kind of insights around how it evolved over the years. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is it getting easier, more difficult?
It's about the same as it was when Mozart was here.
Okay.
I mean, we got suspension in our cars now, and we can roll our windows down, and we got heat. In his horse and buggy, he didn't have suspension, or you know, he often froze. It was hard for him to write music or read a book on the way to his gigs. Yeah. So we're in the same boat.
Just
better. We got better cars.
Just swapping out one set of challenges for another set of challenges.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at what we're going through with the pandemic right now, I mean, everybody suffers, right from the top of the charts, right from the primaries down to the secondaries. So.
Yeah. Tell us which audio clip you'd like me to share first, my friend. I have a few audio clips to share with our viewers here.
Well, the A Bug Symphony. there's a classical composition that I'm sure a lot of people aren't aware that I've written. And with that one said, I entered it into a contest in Winnipeg with the WSO, the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. They were looking for young composers. So when I submitted this, they called me back and they said, "Hey, winner, chicken dinner." And we got talking about it. They said, "Well, how old are you?" I think at the time I was 42.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Oh, golly, we were looking for young guys like, 19 to 23.
Yeah.
Rats. Anyway, so the Winnipeg, this was close.
Yeah, let me play it, and immediately when I play it, let me know if you can hear it, and then I can fix it if you can't hear it. So let's bring this in, and can you hear it?
Nope. Just barely.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me fix that then. So the volume is not right.
There you go. The concept of the song, the whole symphony, it's called A Bug. My daughter Erica, who is very young, used to call Abba.
Okay.
So when it became Abba is Latin for father.
Okay.
I don't know where she got that from, but as she grew, she once told me a story, and that's what that symphony is about, a bug. So it's a argument that a bumblebee is having with the dragonfly about the tiny footprints the bumblebee is leaving on the flowers when he pollinates. And the dragonfly is mad because he thinks that the bumblebee is destroying the beauty of the flower over footprints.
Cool. So I'm curious, when you do these kinds of tracks, describe the collaboration process. Do they come into your studio and do it all from there, and you master it right from there, or how does that all work?
That's correct. I write, so they're playing when I write. So everything that you hear the fiddle, and that's everything I wrote. You hear the bass, that's everything I wrote. And they get paid, they come in and they do it. I mix it, master it, and produce it. I do everything.
So you're a composer, director of sort, and producer for sure. So compose. Basically, you hire musicians to fill the various seats or chairs. And all right, cool. Thank you.
It takes me too long to learn the fiddle. I tried, but I just squawk.
Yeah. You gotta farm out some of the stuff, I guess.
Yeah, by rosin.
Yeah. I'm going to go to a different area here, and I'm going to bring in maybe a photo that I want to share. Give me a second to do that. So this photo here that I'm going to share is let me just there it is, I think, and I'm going to go like that, and let me just see if that is still being shared. There it is. So I'll bring it in, and tell us about this this photo here, my friend.
Those are my 4 CDs. The first one, Ella, 5 nominations. The next one, Dolce, 3 nominations, 1 Grammy Listen Award for 2004.
Mm-hmm.
listed at the Grammy Awards. Below that is Dear Leonardo, my third jazz album, which I was the first Aboriginal Native guitarist to get to play at the award show.
Cool.
The hit single off of that went around the world. Added 10 more countries, so I believe I'm at either 29. Yeah. Countries worldwide now.
Okay.
And then the last one, the green one, Live in Your Head, is my return to country rock. My roots, I guess, where I grew up. I grew up listening to Haggard and Jones and Cash and Presley,
That's a cool and very artistic looking photo there. Did you shoot that photo for that purpose, or did you just come across a photo that you had a while ago that sort of worked for the cover?
No, I was emptying out boxes to make sure I could put enough of those in my van. So when I stopped at the thing, I always had something to sell. And when I found them all, I went, oh, let's put them together and take a picture of that. That's nice. Hey, sit there, nice boys. Good.
Yeah. Let me just make sure that the photo here that I share is the largest it can be. So give me a second to deal with that. So tell us about maybe this next photo that I'm going to bring in here. And this next photo is, obviously you're at work here with the recording console there and all of the different music stuff that were happening there, lyrics and notes and all that.
Well, that's Sunshine. And a lot of people don't know I had to actually translate my lyrics into Spanish. So when the Spanish guy came in to sing, he had Spanish lyrics to sing, and that's my pen and paper work in all different colors of paper. When I ran out of white paper, I used whatever I had kicking around to make sure when the vocalist came in, all my lyrics were in order.
Now,
so writing, as you know, I don't have. You sing in both languages, so maybe I don't know how many languages you sing in Dune. But
I'm two only.
Which translation is always an issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm curious. How fluent are you at Spanish, my friend?
I could probably buy a Coke and get on the bus and tell you that I love you and say hello and goodbye.
Cool. So the translation work that you did there was sort of looking it up and sort of do some heavy lifting with back and forth, probably, hey?
Yeah, I have Tilo speaks Spanish as well. So does Andre. Andre is a beautiful singer, a beautiful man, right from Brasilia, in Brazil. So they helped out, and there's all of our work.
Cool. Now, I just want to pause for a moment. This is in your studio. Tell us about the renovation you've done with your studio recently. I've seen some exciting photos. Tell us a bit about that.
About renovating?
Yeah. You renovated recently your studio and kind of upgraded it and all that kind of stuff.
In St. Andrews, we had a 920 square foot studio, so detached, right in the middle of an acreage. So the closest house to us was an acre. So the soundproofing was... you could take 3 steps away from the building and not hear the live band in the building. So today, when we were down in the basement, soundproofing is an issue because I don't want everybody to hear what's going on because we're not on an acreage anymore. And then wall construction. So that was done last year. We started to finish up so I can actually go to work in a comfortable environment.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. This next photo, tell us about this one. You guys having fun?
Yeah. Yeah, that's us there. That's me and my wife, Corrine. 25 years now.
25 years. Same with my wife and I. And I
noticed that.
Yeah. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary here this week, in fact. Congratulations on your 25th as well. They call it silver, I guess. So we are silver, just like the way my hair is right these days. But,
just like you. That's right.
Looks like some Hollywood shot there, maybe.
Do you know the guy who's on the right or the left of me?
He looks so familiar, but I can't. I want to say Mark. Is he Mark?
No, I'll tell you, if he had $1 million, he wouldn't eat craft dinner anymore.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. Of course, the bare naked lady.
Stephen Page was scheduled at the Barrie Jazz Festival with me
Mhm.
to come sing some jazz songs. In this photo, he had met me on a boat ship cruise in Winnipeg,
Mhm.
and had heard all my stuff and was quite the fan of mine. And I get blown away. Jerry Doucette is like that. I've got Rick Emmett, the guitar player, that's like that. That know me. One of the Brent Mason out of Nashville is aware of me,
Mhm.
and not just. It's through the Lenny Breau connection
Mhm.
that they're all catching on. So.
Yeah. In other words, you are really at the top of your genre, and your the kind of music that you play, and the kind of in that circle you're very well recognized and respected and whatnot. Perhaps the average person walking on in Edmonton on the street might not know what you're all about, but there's a lot of people internationally who actually are into your music.
Yeah, 2 number 1 records in Canada, 2
Mm.
number 1 jazz records in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
That's huge.
Mm.
To have a number 1 record once,
Mm-hmm.
and then to release your sophomore album and get it at number 1.
Yeah.
So that's and to have all the celebrities that come up to me is like Tony Spitzer in Toronto. Wild Tea in the Spirit. There's just so many that
Mm-hmm.
are
Cool. Cool.
that it kind of gets freaky, Dune. This one here that we're looking at now
Uh-huh.
is the excerpt from a book that my name is mentioned in 4 times that resides in the Smithsonian Institute in Boston.
Oh, cool.
So there's another accomplishment that I don't hear very often. And yeah, my name's in the Smithsonian Institute. So when I leave this planet, I've left something behind.
There you go. And very cool. Very cool. So this it says bottom here, contemporary music, and wonderful. Now tell us about this. You have believe there. What's your thoughts when you kind of put that photo together?
Well, that's the guitar I built.
Mm,
And April 3rd, 1991, it cost me $936
that's
to
a lot.
build.
Back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, painstakingly. It's got 2 coats of Varathane on it, which is 1 coat too many, I thought. So it doesn't breathe. But that's the whole point, is that no matter what, you can believe. First, I guess there's nobody else that believes in you more than you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Cool. Yeah, I see the. I guess you can see the electronics and the wiring underneath that plexi.
Yeah, that was a $90 cut for me in New York when I was living in Winnipeg. I shipped away for it, so they cut it specifically to what I needed.
Cool, cool. And it certainly have seen its stages in terms of performances. I see.
Yeah, Brian Taterin in Winnipeg. He's a guitar tech there. He's the last guitar player for the Guess Who.
Hmm.
He's the one that helped me with the know-how.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. So tell us about this one. This looks a little bit different. You got all these numbers. Tell us more. What's all that's about?
That's how my brain thinks. So as I'm driving down the road, that's my license plate, YYB
Okay.
794. So I organize Y in the alphabet to be, what letter would that be in the alphabet? It'd be 24.
Okay. Yeah.
So I break 24 down into the normal perspective, and I use that to create my chord progressions, and I see if that works.
Jeez. You're trying to find some convergence or coincidences, or perhaps
Inspiration is what it is.
So that's your older plate when you were in Manitoba there, trying to do the same thing there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so when you look at the numbers on 794, that would be the 7th chord. So if you're in the key of C, that's correct. If you're in the key of C, that would be a B, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to the 9, which would be the 9th chord,
Mm-hmm.
which would be, I guess, a D.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the 4th chord, which in the key of C would be F. So then you would go B, D, F.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Which works.
Well, if you know, it's how my brain works, I guess, how I'm wired.
Cool. So that must mean when you play music, you probably think a lot about numbers and not the kind of A, B, C, D, E. You probably think more numbers, yeah? Or
Well, that's a good question, Dune, because I wind up thinking about colors.
Wow, tell us more about
So,
that. That's interesting.
yeah, when I close my eyes and I hear certain, like when I hear the chord E, I hear black.
Oh, really?
And when I hear the chord F, I hear a brown. And when I hear G, I hear a green. So it goes really from the bottom of the earth right to C and D, which is, yellow and the sun.
Right. So in other words, sounds like you have perfect pitch. Sounds like you know what note that is, the absolute note, not the relative, but absolute. Is that right?
I don't have perfect pitch. I have excellent relative pitch. Thank God I don't have perfect pitch. That's a curse.
That is. I don't
Because
have.
you never hear anything in it's always out of tune.
Yeah, I worry about people who have perfect pitch. That is a gift. Certainly, that's a gift. But there's a whole lot that could actually constrain you. For me, when I jam on guitar, I'm happy that I don't have perfect pitch because it would really mess my jamming up. I can jam to any music because of the relativity of it, right? But
That's
yeah,
correct.
perfect pitch is a bit of a gift and also a bit of a burden, I guess. Tell us about this one.
I believe that one sold for $250.
Cool. And you drew it?
No, I didn't draw it. I was doing a gig down at what is now Allison. Oh, it used to be called Tim's Grill on 109 Street, and I think it was 76 or something on Avenue around there. And I used to go and sit in, do my jazz gig, and people would come in and sit in with me. And this individual Russian guy from Russia was over, and he drew the painting of me. And then the singer there is a teacher in the middle with the cap on, with the guitar and the blue shirt. Yes, him. He bought it for $250.
Cool.
Because he was happy that he had actually been in a painting with Jeari Czapla.
There you go. And that would be you right there, my friend.
Yeah, and I didn't hear this until I moved back to Edmonton in 2015. And I accidentally bumped into him, and he said, "Do you know there's a painting out there of you that went for $250?" I said, "I don't know that. No."
Cool stories. Yeah. So now it's a fun photo here of you with that same guitar. Sounds like, is this your number one guitar or is it number two? Or how does, is this something that you use quite often?
I did up until I got my jazz guitar.
Right.
That one I built, and out of a need, I had all kinds of different pickups in there so I could have a really nice jazz sound, a real good rock, a real good blues, country, all within one guitar. So it was my main one for, decades.
Right. Now, I want to play maybe another clip for a viewer, another audio clip. Tell me which one you like to share, my friend. Any top of mind?
Throw out Pharrella. I wonder how many people have ever heard my first single.
Yeah.
It went around the world.
Yeah, let me just find it here. I see the Pharrella. I see it. Okay, I'm going to kind of bring it in. Give me a second to do that. When was this? Do you recall exactly when this was?
That was recorded at Damon Soundtrack Studio with Gary McDonald. Between March and April of 2001.
Right.
And it was released at the Yardbird Suite to a sold-out crowd. They actually put eight more seats in there, so I think it was 138 seats in there, sold out on October 27, 2001.
Let's take a listen. Can you hear it?
Oh, yeah. That's a bossa nova Rica Cha-Cha.
Did I get the spelling right?
Yeah, it's 2 words. It's for my daughter.
Oh,
Ella.
I see. On the on the video, I see. I got you. Let me correct that here. That makes more sense. Here we
There
go.
you go.
Perfect. Now we
That's
have.
for my daughter Ella.
Yeah, wonderful.
There's words with it that never got. Ella, I love you, and I always will.
Mm-hmm. Now Ruth Blaze chimed in there and says, "Nice job, Jeari."
Hey Ruth, good afternoon.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. And tell us about the kind of, if you think about all of your career so far over several decades, uh, do you have a story about a highlight from the entire career that's top of mind that you think of that you want to maybe share that highlight that special story? Do you have one like that?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's as you know, there's lots
Mm-hmm.
you can share. I guess the top of the career right now is the people I have an opportunity to work with right now at this day and age with Ruth and Andre,
Mm-hmm.
and Wayne and Lindsay and Don Maricott.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys that I have an opportunity to work with. So that's a highlight for me for sure. And to have to actually I'm native.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the selling features is there's not many native jazz guitar players in Canada. I'm one of the very few.
Mm-hmm.
And for a native man, they usually find themselves in rock and roll, blues,
Mm-hmm.
country.
Yeah.
And to find a native man like myself into Latin music
Mm.
and creating more and more Latin music, that's a highlight for me. Because I've done it before. I've gone on tour with country bands all across the prairie provinces for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Hired out as a freelance player to fill the void with some popular people. But when it came down to it, I wanted to write dance music. I guess
Well,
that's what bossa nova is.
yeah, bossa nova. As you probably can imagine, playing Vietnamese music with several Vietnamese bands, we play a lot of different rhythm that might not be typical of, the North American
That's
typical kind
correct.
of music here, right? Because
Yeah,
what is ballroom?
yeah.
Ballroom?
I don't know what the correct term is, but there's a lot of gypsy and there's a lot of influence in that music that is not custom to Western world.
Yeah, I mean, when you say bossa nova, I played that beat, that pattern, pretty much every show. There would be probably at least one song that's bossa nova, and there would be another song that would be, all of the different kind of beats, if you will. We would cycle through the evening, right, of 40
Yeah.
songs or so. Whereas, it's typically here that we would just focus on perhaps one type of genre of one type of beat most of the night, kind of thing, right? So it's a little bit more. Whether it's Latin music or Vietnamese music, there's a bit more of a homage to maybe ballroom dancing stuff, I guess. We even do a little bit rare now, but we still do tango once in a while, the tango kind of beat. And we do a lot of, all kinds of beats. But anyway, tell us more.
Well, tangos are fun.
Yeah.
It's all dance, right? It's,
Yeah.
The one thing I'm working on, not so much silently, but a lot of people probably aren't aware, is I've got 2 India pieces coming. So one of them is going to be a reprise of 7/4 Moon, which I sent out, which is an Arabic song off of Forella.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a new Arabic where I have actually a tabla, sitar, and a Hindi singer on board here for this new album. Not only, but also.
Nice. So tell us, so it sounds like you've kind of done your rock and blues and countries and all of that, but along the way decided that, whether it's jazz or whether it's Latin music, those seems to draw up more your time these days going, in the last little while. Tell us, what's the one sort of really distinctive thing that you like about Latin music or Spanish music? What is it that resonate with you so much?
That's a good question, Dune. In the early stages of my career back in 1990, 86 to 1990, Premiered at the first jazz festival in Winnipeg, the rooftop. I was at the Forks. I think I sent you one of those pictures when they opened up the Forks in Winnipeg, which is the meeting place there.
Mm-hmm.
And people I was hanging around with at the time were Italian. So I learned a lot of Latin music, and that groove and the dance, and you watching how people just enjoyed themselves. You get the same thing in a country venue and the same in a rock and roll venue.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up on Haggard and Jones, my rebellion to rebel against my parents was to turn on the jazz because they hated that. And I thought, here we go, I'm going to get you back now. And then I spent a career trying to sound like Lenny Breau. And then now in my older days, I realized, well, I did that, been there, done that, you know what I mean? And now I want to write, and I am writing exactly what I want.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now, everybody has a kind of low point in their career. I would imagine being having been in the music kind of full-time thing for decades, there's probably a story that you don't mind sharing with our viewers to just kind of get a sense of, what does a low point look like for your career that you don't mind sharing? Do you have a story like that just help us appreciate the journey?
We all go through low points. I don't come from the wealthiest family. I come from a poor family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the second generation out of the residential schools.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had grade 9. That was it. My dad had grade 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I was homeless twice. With nowhere to go. And my second time was in high school. So that's kind of embarrassing. But I mean, you work through it and you persevere and you keep telling yourself and then finally you get there. So the low points all throughout, motivation and inspiration, looking towards leaders who lead. Two types of leaders, right, Dune? There's the leader who has the designation and just creates more followers. And then there's the leader who has the designation and creates more followers. So those are the people I follow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you bet. Now I know you. I watch your posts and I read them, and you're into, beyond music, you're into two more things that I'm aware of. One is you like humor. So you like funny stuff, and the other one is you like inspirational stuff. Tell us about how those two kind of play in your life. Fun stuff or funny stuff, humor, if you want to call it that, and then also motivational, inspirational stuff. Do you want to maybe touch on that?
Sure, Dune. The things I write on the Facebook are geared right at me. So the fact that somebody else likes it or can get something from it is wonderful. But it's the big boy, the big me, walking into a dark, scary room. Where the little boy is sitting over there, the little Jeari, and I reach down and I say, "Here, take my hand. Come on, you don't live here no more. Let's go."
Yeah. So it's a sort of a reminder to yourself, and in the process of doing that, you're also helping others. So tell us, in terms of music, are you? How do you feel about sort of music video in general? Is that something you do more of? Is that something that you've done enough of already? How do you feel about music video as a medium?
I think it's fine. I think people need to get their expression out.
Cool. Hey, I would love to share yet another clip. These clips are really short. It's just 1 minute each. Tell me which one you might like to share with our viewers next, my friend.
Chromatosed is a good one. That's the first jazz song I ever wrote.
Okay, yeah. Let me cue that up here.
That one's got a bit of a funny story to it. I went shopping in Pagabo, if you're old enough to remember that. Pagabo, and my friend took off his shoe, his work boot, to try on, and oh my God. And the name came about. Holy, that's chromatosed. And then I was tasked by Chet to go home and write a song. So that's the first jazz song I ever wrote, and it finally made it on album number 2.
Cool. Well, let's take a listen.
That's Bill Richards, piano guy from Grant McEwen, head piano guy there.
Yeah.
I think he's running McEwen now.
Mhm.
And Gord Graber on drums, and Jeff Smoot from Captain Tractor and the Rockin' Highliners on bass, and that's a full house of top-notch musicians, and that's the one that's Grammy listed.
No, cool. So again, correct me if I'm wrong. Each one of these are they all these audio clips that I'm sharing? Are they your own composition, and then you just have different people play on them? Is that right?
That's correct.
Cool. So we're sharing about 3 so far. There's a few more to share. So that's so in other words, you probably in terms of composing and producing and directing and whatnot, you probably spend even more time on that than you do playing your instruments per se. Is that right?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I have to work my ideas through on my instrument.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll go from bass guitar and play that, and then I'll go to guitar and play that. And if there's a piano, I'll go there and play that. I've got a trumpet, but I'm not. I need to practice.
Yeah.
Ryan Ebenhoff has come over. He can play my trumpet better than I can.
Yeah. Tell me, what was your first instrument that you have learned? Was it the guitar? Was it something else, or what?
No, it's the cardboard boxes turned upside down with my mom's wooden spoons.
Ah.
And my dad said, once you get good on the boxes, we'll talk about getting you a drum set.
Nice.
So that was in 1973. By 1976, I guess I was pretty good on the boxes because Dad got me a Ludwig jazz drum set.
You played yourself out of the box there, my friend.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Cool. So it sounds like you probably the only career that you had so far, and probably ever, is music. Or did you have a prior career to music, my friend?
I was a police officer in Winnipeg.
Oh, there you go. So that's a different, completely different career.
Yeah, I couldn't stand holding a gun on my hip though, because the gun only has one purpose, really, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not when I point it at you and pull the trigger, it doesn't make you a better person, does it? No. And then I worked at the jail for 6 years, the remand center downtown.
Yeah. So you have that.
And then I guess athlete. I was an extremely high caliber athlete. Played for the #1 in the world broomball team. Played for Team Canada volleyball twice.
Nice.
So I've been a musician all my life, but music wasn't where I was until I came to Edmonton in '91.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you sharing. First of all, I'm sure most people who know you don't know about that part of your life, that other career, policeman. And so that's one. The other one is the fact that you were quite sort of high up in your kind of sports and competing and all of that. To me, that also translates well over to a higher level of play in music. I think there's a whole lot of transferable skills between one thing and another, whether it's sports over to music or music over to something else, if you play at the high level, right? Did you find that?
Yeah, dude, when I was in high school and I was homeless, and I thought the only way out I could see possibly was through my athletics. So school was about 10 kilometers away, and I would save my change and run to school and run home from school. So on Friday night, I could take my girlfriend out for a Coke and some French fries.
Yep.
So running, and eventually I won a 26-mile marathon in Winnipeg. Rod Black, I grew up with, he covered it. So you're right. All of that transfers because I didn't want to be just, I needed to get out of where I was in that poverty. And the only way I saw out was through athlete.
You bet. And I really believe that when I watch anybody who sort of gets to a high level of performance in any given field of life, I'm pretty confident that if they want to be operating at a high level in a different field of life, that they could, because many of those things that are critical to play at the high level are transferable. Right?
That's right.
So I'm glad to see another example of that in your background. So tell us, my friend, as you think about, let's say beyond COVID, are you in a mode to kind of say beyond COVID, I want to do things that I'm not able to do, or do you see COVID as just part of reality, and you don't really, you're not as anxious about kind of post-COVID as some other performers are, who maybe they only have live, events to kind of bank their time on? You seem to have a lot of different things going that are actually quite compatible with sort of working from home kind of thing.
I opened up, I say my wife and I, we opened up a Czapla Music Studio in Sherwood Park in 2003 till 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So for 3 years, we operated out of a storefront, and then we packed up and moved home because my mom got sick. I'm not concerned about it. I have goals that will lead me past it.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are things that will return, so it's just a matter of patience and work it out. And I know there's certain places in the country that are going back to, like Winnipeg's already back to gigs and gigging and jam sessions. So it's nice to see my buddies getting back to work there.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned at all because I worked from home for so long now.
Yeah, glad to hear. Yeah, you have sort of diversified along the way, and so when this hits, it's not as big of an impact. Tell us another song that you like to share, my friend, out of the list there. If you don't recall, I can sort of sound them out for you, but if you have one top of mind from the...
Yeah, I'm starting to forget now which one. Did I send you off of anything off of Not Only But Also?
It's hard to tell, but
there's
I'll
no
tell you what I got.
to it.
I'll tell you got Sonatina.
Sonatina, there's a classical guitar piece.
Yeah. Ask the Busker.
Yeah, there's
5 to 7. I have. And
that one went to number 5 in Nova Scotia on the CBC.
Yeah, Scherzo.
Scherzo. That's the third movement in my symphony.
Mm-hmm. And the 7/4 moon.
Yeah, that's the Arabic one. That's got the that's part of a suite that is going to end with my India stuff. So it's got an Arabic melody.
Yeah. Tell us which one to play next, my friend. Any one of those.
Just pick one, Dune.
Okay, then I'll start with the first one here. This is the... There you go. Let me know if you can hear it.
The birds.
Mm-hmm.
The Country Tree Bird Symphony. It's all available on sheet music through my website. If somebody's interested and they want to learn that, I've got the sheet music.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to ask you, based on the music that you tend to kind of focus on, do you make use of nylon string guitar more than steel string guitar, or is it kind of a mix?
It's a good question. Chris Craig saw a picture of my Take-A-Mine nylon, and he said, "Sure would like to hear you play that more often, Jeari." Mm-hmm. So Not Only But Also has been all nylon.
Yeah.
Dear Leonardo is where that song just came off of. That's half of a jazz album and half of a classical album. So in there's half nylon. Mm-hmm. And when I go back to the other albums, it's mostly steel. I've got my jazz guitar there. So I've been playing a lot more nylon these days. However, with that said, I started playing nylon.
Yeah. I started my guitar with a classical guitar and took some lessons when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And then, of course, since then, I sort of moved away from it once I got into electric and all of that. But I think I'm going to spend more time with the classical guitar again here soon. It's just kind of rediscover that a little bit. I'm going to play the next one, which is Ask the Busker. Any interesting backgrounder on that?
Sure. It started out as a rock song, and I was doing an episode of. I would go down. I would go down White Avenue with my video camera, and I would have a question, and then I would go home and I do like the video we saw earlier on Sunshine. I did all the editing on that and blah blah blah. So I'd take the video home, and the concept was that my students could watch a small video on the major scale formula, for example. And I would go on the street and ask the busker. I always left him $5 in his tip jar, right? And so that's where that came about. And when I was searching for music for the second album, I thought, hey, there's one right there. We'll change it from rock into Latin.
Cool. Hey, before I forget, I want to ask: have you done much busking in your early days, my friend?
In the early days, when I first got to Edmonton, we sure did. We used to pay 10. We'd take an extension cord on White Avenue over, what is it called? It's called Hudson's Brew House or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'd sit up in front of there on White Avenue, and the guy would charge us $10 to use our extension cord so we could plug in a microphone. It was Corey Paperny, Mark Pierce is there, and there's a couple other guys there. Yes, I did.
I want to hear more busking in the time that you did busk. Do you have a sentiment to share about it? What's good about it? What's not so good about it? What's your perspective on busking?
I think it's fun. I think it's a way to get out and express yourself. So, because as people walk by, they're half-assed listening. So it's a way to get over some of those fears that you have about performance.
Yeah.
And if you're good enough, then you can make a few bucks here and there for coffee.
And if you enjoy the outdoors, that's bonus.
There you go. I love buskers. I think they're great.
Yeah. I do as well. It's funny, somewhere along the line, I remember growing up in Vietnam, there was just music out because it's, warm country, any place where there's warm weather, music, is just on the street and whatnot. And somewhere along the lines, many countries have gotten down to regulating and whatever have you, to the point where you have to jump through a number of hoops, I would guess. I've never bust myself, but I would have guessed there's a few hoops more these days than there used to be, maybe.
In Winnipeg at the Forks Market, you have to sign up and sign papers, and then you get a 1-hour spot, and that's it. So you have to jump through all of those hoops you just talked about to busk in Winnipeg. There's places now where you actually have to rent the venue.
Oh, wow.
Pay to play. So, the venue is $300 to rent it, and they want that right up front.
Yeah.
So then you hope, then you go down and you go, $20. What? Are you crazy? Well, there's only 17 people showing up. I got to pay the guy $300 back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm going to hit play here on this next clip, which is from Ask the Busker. So we'll listen to it here.
Dune, all of these songs are available on my website. If the people are still hanging out, if they're still watching, they can visit zaplamusic.com and get all the lowdown on not only that, but the new stuff that's coming out that's already around the world. So I'm not looking at Edmonton as my main, don't get me wrong, as my main source of, I'm looking, Pinky and the Brain, what are we going to do today? Same thing we do every day, trying to take over the world.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my whole mantra. I don't want to hear my stuff in Red Deer or in Regina. I want to know that I'm spreading around the world.
Yeah. So you have a larger market, and you don't need to have as big of a percentage of a larger market, right?
About 10 years ago, the Kepler telescope found a new planet that is 22 times the size of Earth.
Hmm.
So I've put a package together. Of course, it's inhabited. It's not habited now, but I'm going to send a package over to there. So I want to get there. And if I can get to Mars, I can send one to Mars too. So whoever, Nestle owns the water there. So,
Yeah.
I want to spread it universally.
What I want to do,
Not just to the south end of Edmonton.
yeah, what I want to do is just give the viewers just a quick view of your website. You have some personality on your website there, my friend.
Thank you.
Tell us why did you kind of choose that logo, that image there? Is there a story behind
Bird?
it? Yeah.
Well, native, first of all. So
Mm-hmm.
birds are important to us. But as a Czechoslovakian last name,
Mm-hmm.
what Czapla is that bird.
Oh,
That's a
really?
purple herring.
Oh,
Heron?
really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I'm learning new
So my
stuff.
last name is a bird. So
There you go. Very cool. Very cool. So,
there's a link to my new album.
yeah, I see that. Yeah. Cool. And so you have music lessons and transcription services, and of course you have various your own
Yeah,
band.
recording studio. So
Yeah.
if people are looking to do recording or have stuff mixed,
Mm-hmm.
one of the videos I do music videos. So one of the music videos I did for a guy in Winnipeg premiered at the IMAX Theater in Winnipeg at Polo Park
Mm-hmm.
before the feature.
Yeah.
I'm working on getting that here at our IMAX theaters once we get back in, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. As we sort of round the corner on the kind of winding down this conversation, are there aspects of your background that you like to share with our viewers that we haven't gotten into yet, my friend? I'd love to hear from, because I want to really make sure our viewers get a chance to really know you and through this a little bit better. And is there a surprising fact? I mean, you share a few already, but is there another one that people might be surprised to hear about your background, or what you've been up to, or what you are up to? Anything like that?
Other than the brand new record, not only but also,
Mm-hmm.
this is my third quarantine. I was quarantined right after birth, and then I was quarantined when I got the Hong Kong flu. So I don't have the COVID,
Mm-hmm.
so that's good. But this is my third one.
Wow.
The new album is important. So if they want to go to the front page at zaplamusic.com, they can start to hear. It's collecting itself as I go through, and I keep adding to the playlist. So we're at 4 songs now, or 5 songs now,
Right.
halfway through.
Yeah. Cool. So, what do you feel about kind of the when you think about the local music scene, the local music pub? Is there a pub or a scene or a venue that just resonate with you? One that you, if you had time, you would frequent because it somehow fits with how you're wired? Is there one venue that resonate with you?
I'm quite sure there's not one venue that they turn around and say, it sure is good when Jeari Czapla walks in here. So with all due respect, I'm not going to promote anybody else other than myself. But there are a few that I like. Home Fire Grill is a great place. If you haven't been down there, go down there. They got some great food. I'm sure they're going through some regaining of some finances right now. And I'm sure in the future, I may be back there playing.
Yeah.
I've started to field questions about that. Are you playing there now that they're back open? We'd sure like to come down and see you. And so,
yeah. Hey, tell us a bit more about that. So you played there for a long period of time, a bit of a long stint there. Tell us, was it an hour and a half each time? Tell us a bit more about that gig there you had for a while.
Well, I had 2 of them. I had Home Fire Grill on Saturdays between 6 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had milestones on Fridays between 5 and 7. So the interesting thing, Dune, is that I'm able to walk into a venue and have myself there for 2.5 years before COVID hit. And I'm quite sure that it was popular on Saturday at Home Fires. And I finally just quit at Milestones for a variety of reasons. But it is something for an individual to walk in and get a job there and play there for 2.5 years.
Yeah. And in fact,
especially jazz.
Yeah, same schedule, really, right? I mean,
yeah,
you were on Friday from that time to that time. That was like predictable. The diners and patrons can count on the fact that when we walk in, they'll be able to see you. Tell us, do you do a lot of audience participation in your performance when you do those gigs?
I often make a joke because sometimes I'll be playing through what sounds like a very serious jazz piece, and it's all, oh, it's jazz, and the next thing you know, you hear, just sit right back and you hear a tale of a fateful trip, and you're listening to Gilligan's Island, and they snap their head around. Oh my! I'll be right back. I have a caller in the car. Just give me. So I'm like my own doctor too, because it's fun. I throw a lot of stuff in that people would recognize, so it's not just straight jazz. It's more fun. I'm at the age where I can do that and have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And as we wrap this up, my friend, I'd love to have you kind of take us home and share with us any stories or sentiment or advice or whatever have you.
You say take you home?
Take us home on this particular broadcast. Or you can take me home. I'm already home.
Well, I'm married, eh?
Yeah.
And so are you, by the way.
I am 25 years, my friend. Both of us. Two different women.
Well, thank you, Dune. This has been a pleasure to sit and chat with you and stuff. And you're a great guy to do this for all the local musicians around, to give them the time and to put on your lunch hour to book all of that. I mean, have you had a sandwich or a bowl of soup or anything at this point? But so, thank you for that. You're a great individual for doing all of this all the time. And the fact that you asked me in the beginning, it wasn't easy to get me here, as you know. Because I kept thinking, well, what do I have to offer? I got nothing to offer. Anyways, thank you.
Well, you have lots to offer, my friend. And as we already touched on earlier, you have a lot of different, again, I think you play in a way, you play in a different, almost a different arena than many of the local musicians might play, and in that different arena, you are very known and loved and respected for what you do, and very high level internationally. A different kind of music, whether it's Spanish or Latin music, and whether it's jazz versus rock and blues. Again, you are a little bit what I would call off the beaten path, a little bit, but
underground.
In that off the beaten path, you are very much robust in your musical journey and robust in your background and your discipline to kind of high performance and high achievement and all that. It's funny because perhaps a little bit less quote unquote mainstream than some of the other folks who might focus on the more mainstream stuff, but nonetheless, that's why I reach out to you, my friend. I know that you have lots to offer to those who are into your thing that you're doing, and also for those who are not into the things that you're doing, maybe to learn a bit more about what you've been up to, and just to have an appreciation for the diversity that's your musical career spanning multiple decades. And now I have learned, privileged to learn about your policeman background and about your sports background. To me, everybody always have a story, and thank you for sharing that story with us, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Dune.
You bet. And to our viewers out there, hopefully you enjoy the conversation with Jeari today, Jeari Czapla, and feel free to, again, check out his website as CZAPLA music.com. So everything's on there for you to check out. And till we meet again, folks, have a wonderful rest of the day here, and take good care of yourself and take good care of one another. And till we meet again, have a great day.
Thank you, Dune. Bye-bye.
Jeari, bye.